All right, the WBA suspends Carlos Sucre, who was one of the ringside judges. Before I get into this, because we need to talk about it, let me state this as a disclaimer. I was out all day real early on Saturday, and I got home real late from what I was doing. I was extremely exhausted. By the time we got into the Chocolatito Estrada fight, it was an amazing fight. I watched it all the way up to the ninth round. Somewhere in the ninth round, I blinked my eyes and I don't know what happened. I just, boom, fell asleep. Woke up, it was halfway through the 12th round, all right? So with that being said, you have to remember that I have most of the ninth round. I did not see the 10th, 11th, and at least the first half of the 12th round I did not see watching that fight. So keep that in mind when I make the statements that I make. With that being said, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That way you can get updated when I drop the newest content like this. With that being said, let's get into it. So what the WBA did, and this is why I said let's talk about it, is pretty pointless. They said they put in a temporary suspension. That's what they're calling for, a temporary suspension. In other words, a slap on the wrist. In other words, it does nothing. So he had it 117 to 111. Now, again, I didn't see the last couple of rounds, but you couldn't even have it that score because how I saw it was, and I'm going off memory, guys. Remember, I was exhausted. The first round, I remember Chocolatito didn't do much of anything. He barely threw a punch. I don't even know if he did throw a punch. He was just guarded up, moving around the ring while Estrada was throwing punches. So by default, Estrada won the first round. The second round, it started off the same, and towards the end of it, Chocolatito started to let his hands go and catch Estrada. So I gave the second round as well to Estrada. However, the third and fourth round, if I remember correctly, I gave to Chocolatito. So now we have first and second, Estrada, third and fourth, Chocolatito. The fifth round, I think, if I remember correctly, I gave it to Estrada, and I want to say the sixth round I gave to Estrada. I'm not sure. There was it was going back and forth whenever I was watching it. So I know the first four for sure. I had it even 2-2. I believe the fifth round I gave to Estrada. So that would have had it 5-3. 5-2. What am I talking about? It would have had it 3-2. I'm sorry, guys. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm adding numbers together that don't need to be added. It would have been going into the fifth. I gave it to Estrada. So it would have been 3 rounds for Estrada, 2 for Gonzalez. I believe the sixth. It was either the sixth or the seventh round I gave for Estrada. So what I can say is one of those rounds I gave to Chocolatito, I want to say the sixth round or the seventh. I don't know. So here's what we'll do. Going into 7, so I had it 3-2. Say 6 we give to Estrada because I don't remember 6 or 7 I gave to Estrada Chocolatito. We'll just say 6 Estrada. So we had 3-2, 4-2, Chocolatito, 4-3, going into the 7th. Going into the 8th, I think I gave it to Chocolatito. It was 4-4, so I had a draw. In the 9th round, when I fell asleep, I had Estrada up. So I don't know if he continued to win the round, but either way it goes, I would have had it 5-4 if Estrada would have won that 9th round. So how you get 111 to 117, even with me partially seeing the fight, is beyond me. And the fact that I'm saying is, it's ridiculous because at the end of the day, what does a temporary suspension mean? Absolutely nothing. Then it was just called for by the WBA, not the WBC, who was also involved. So you have one sanctioning body who's calling for a temporary, stress the temporary suspension. Then you have another sanctioning body who doesn't even care. So at the end of the day, nothing is learned from this. Nothing will be done by this. And people who are cheering the WBA shouldn't be cheering at all. Because it's ridiculous that judges like this are allowed to be in the sport. In fact, I was going far as to say, even with the Breakers fight, the referee, that was a very questionable point deduction. That very well could have cost the points. It wouldn't have because it was such a landslide, but was it really? Things like this are allowed to happen, and when fans get mad, all they do is just dog and pony shows to make people feel good. All it is just to say, oh, we did something, but they really didn't do nothing. Okay, calling for a temporary suspension does absolutely nothing. People who do stuff like that, especially on a fight that's probably up there with fight of the year, not probably, it is a candidate for fight of the year, period. It's definitely a candidate for fight of the year. I believe Estrada threw 1,200 plus punches. Roman Gonzalez threw, I want to say 1,300 plus punches. I think, I'm trying to go off memory, guys, whenever I saw the punch stats at the end. I want to say that Estrada landed in the low 300s and Chocolatito landed in the high 300s. So, like, I want to say Estrada had, like, somewhere in between 300 to 320 punches landed, whereas Roman Gonzalez had somewhere in between 390 to 400 punches landed, if I remember correctly. Again, I was exhausted. So, I mean, you could, I don't really know what to say other than people who are praising the WBA need to stop praising them. People who are allowing this to happen need to stop allowing it to happen. It's time that these people get their feet put to the fire. It's time that they get burned. It's time that they get out the sport. Again, I will restate what I have said before. Boxing is no longer a top 10 global sport, and it's because of stuff like this. Even if you felt Estrada won, that's fine. But you don't have to rob him on the scorecards. You don't have to say that he lost 117 to 111. You don't have to say that. If you think Gonzalez won, then score it the right way within a round or two of each other. But don't make it look like a landslide when it wasn't. It definitely was not. Like I said, I had Estrada up in the 9th round, but I don't know what happened throughout the entire 9th round. He could have lost that round. He could have lost the 10th. He could have lost the 11th. He could have lost the 12th. Because unfortunately for me, my gas tank hit E. I was in a very exciting fight. You know, let's put it like this. The fight was so exciting that I fell asleep. I was dead to the world, and my body woke me back up like, oh, shit, the fight's going on. Like, that's how exciting the fight was. It was exciting enough to get me up before the fight even ended. Very good fight. Where do they go from here? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do the trilogy. I don't know. I guess that's going to be contingent on Eddie Hearn, too, forking out the money, because at first it seemed like he was reluctant to give them both $1 million each, which they deserve more than that. So I don't know where they go from here. But what I can say is I'm not praising the WBA for the suspension because it's a temporary suspension, and the WBC did absolutely nothing. So, you know, in my opinion, the WBC is a joke. If I had all the belts, if I was undisputed in any weight class, I would throw my WBC belt in the trash can and say, F you, Mauricio, until y'all get back to how y'all used to be. I'm not even representing y'all. I'm not paying y'all. I'm not helping y'all with any type of fees. That's what I would do, because the WBC has been ruining the sport. And it's funny how a scorecard like this and they're involved. But anyways, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Again, I think this does absolutely nothing. I don't even think it's a punishment. It's just a look at what we did type thing that leads to absolutely nothing to anybody who actually reads about it or does research on it.